you all here, and excited to introduce my co-playwright for our fourth and final installment of the Elevate Winter series, Courtney Bottomley. Welcome to the Elevate virtual stage.
Thank you so much, Christina. I'm so happy to be here. So happy working with you on this project. I've enjoyed all of the other Winter Series parts this year. So I'm just so excited to be invited to the stage.
Well, we're excited to have you. It's been such an awesome collaboration, and I'm so pumped that we get to share our piece, Being You. And it's about sexual health and sex and connection. And I'm curious, can you tell us a little bit about the show?
Sure. So this play follows our main character, whose name is Renee. And Renee has just been dumped during a pandemic. So not only does she have to navigate being newly single, but also how does one meet, sustain, and grow a relationship during a pandemic, trying to keep in mind social distance, boundaries, all of the pieces when you have the breadth of people out there doing the exact same thing that she is doing. Um, with this, we also have her group of very fun and supportive friends who love to give advice for better and for worse, just like all of your friends. And we will also get to see a few of her Zoom dates, her potentials as well. Um, in all of this, though, one thing that Renee really starts hearkening in on for herself is this idea of wanting to be partnered. What does it mean to be partnered in our current society as a woman of a certain age? And she really starts to unpack, what does she want and what is society telling her that she wants?
I think it really encapsulates kind of what single folks might be experiencing these days. Not that it's a bad thing to be single
Nope,
by any stretch,
nope.
but there are new elements that we have to navigate being single in a pandemic, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
Why do you think it's important that we talk about sexual health and connection now during this pandemic?
Well, I think talking about sexual health is always going to be super important, but I think that right now a lot of focus has been on what is the mental health of everyone going through this process in different phases of isolation. And sexual health is part of your overall health, right? It has to do with your physical and your mental mindset. So I think that it's important to remember that. I think it's important for people to feel empowered, to feel that they're not alone in this process, especially for people in isolation, for people that are searching for their person in this world. We've been in this state for almost a year now in the United States of in this pandemic isolation. So the idea of putting things off or waiting or feeling negatively or feeling that others are viewing you negatively because you have just completely normal thoughts and desires that have to do with not even just the physical act of sex, but just any of that other more intimate connection that we have in this world is something that we should talk about and embrace and discuss, not just for this moment of getting through our current state of pandemic, but then also what happens once the pandemic we're in a post-pandemic society and what you can take from this moment to bring into what that post-pandemic world is going to look like.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. I think we have to think not just about our current situation, but then in the future, right? And what do we take with us from this moment? I think we take with us some of the connections that we have made, right? The ways that we're collaborating online, the ways
Mm-hmm.
that we're social distance dating, or social distance meeting up with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we want to keep the social distance with friends, but there is some exciting, innovative ways that we've been able to connect with people, and I think some of that can stay in a post-pandemic world. So I appreciate you bringing up the now and the future. I'm curious about how the pandemic has impacted your artistry specifically, and if you have any thoughts about how the shelter in place may have helped you connect better with others.
Sure. So in pandemic and pre-pandemic, I spend most of my time as a high school drama teacher. So that looks quite different. A lot of my creative and artistic endeavors involve anywhere from 50 to 70 teenagers and what we can create together. And I do about full scale events every year. So I was definitely used to working at a higher level than I currently am right now, contained within my lovely little box, as many other people are, in trying to find some semblance of normalcy within this pandemic. So, as far as affecting my artistry, a lot of what I do daily, as far as face to face work, like set construction, because we have to do set construction as part of our high school experience. And all that stuff has been stripped away. So, a lot of it has been for me coming to the realization of, well, what's important? What can I still give to the world? But also bringing it back to myself, and what can I give to myself to make sure that I don't lose this creativity while we are in this pandemic. And then, as you said before, what can I take from my artistry into a post pandemic world? But I think that I've actually had a lot of opportunity to slow down and to give myself that room to think and to feel. For one of the major things for the artistry of myself in the pandemic is I got to meet you. So I don't know if we would have met. I had the opportunity to put up a production with one of the other companies I work with, a Light Theater Guild, this past Christmas. And I got to work with you and I got to meet with you. And then this connection has grown to now I get to work with your theater company. So I think that the growth of artistry is these unexpected happenings, and allowing myself to say yes to all of these different opportunities, giving myself that time to express myself in writing and directing and just being in the room with people that I haven't ever had the opportunity to be in the room with. And with that experience of expanding who I interact with on the artistic level, it's a lot more about listening and learning in brand new ways, where I think so many of us have been, or I shouldn't say that, I should probably say, I have been going on automatic so often, knowing when I drive to work, I eat the same thing in the car. I'm on my way to see my students. I put up, plays at the exact same time every single year. So everything it's a very strict pattern, and breaking out of that pattern, while of course the reason for it being extremely scary, was actually freeing in a way. And also probably a little scary too, because I think all new artistic endeavors always have a little bit of fear for me.
I know, absolutely, for me too, right? It's your baby that you put together and you put out there into the world to be received, and that can have some fear with it. But I totally hear you, right? There's these unexpected and surprising, exciting connections that we make. You and I are a great example of that. And I can't wait for us to have a cocktail or like go out
Yes,
and it's
yes.
available. But I just think that, this time we have the gift of slowing down, as you mentioned, and we have the challenge of continuing forward and not letting the slow down bog down our creative expression. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'm so excited for being you to be on the Elevate virtual stage. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how we can frame this conversation around sex and connection, and making sure that we're reminding ourselves that it's not just about the physical touch or act of sex. It's about that mental, physical wellness connection, and making sure that we all have those intimate moments that we need to thrive and survive. So I just am so appreciative and thankful that we're able to do this together. And I'm really looking forward to February 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, when we debut Being You on the Elevate virtual stage.
So excited. Thank you again, Christina.